Hey guys, another video. This one's on solution by factorization. So I think I jumped the gun a little bit in the previous video where I showed you how to factorize again before applying the Null Factor Law. It seems that the next exercise you need to do are doing that. Specifically just finding the factorization first and then using the Null Factor Law. So just remember, if you can fully factorize a quadratic, so express it in terms of product of a couple of factors, then you can use Null Factor Law to find solutions to that quadratic. So you have to remember back towards the start of the year, there was the four main types of factorization. That was highest common factor factorization. That's where you identify the highest common factor for all the terms that you got, put that highest common factor at the front of a set of brackets, then the remainder of the term stays in the brackets. So if you got x squared take 7x is equal to 0, what's the highest common factor of these two terms? Is going to be x. So that goes out the front of a set of brackets. What's remaining? Well, if I wrote this out long ways, x squared is x times by x, and negative 7x squared is negative 7 lots of x. So the highest common factor in both of those is x. So if I put that out the set of brackets, what's left? X take 7 is equal to 0. So that's been fully factorized. It's been written as a product of x and x takes 7. So that's highest common factor factorization. You may remember difference of two squares was the second kind of factorization we did. If you've got x squared, take a squared, then fully factorized it's x plus a in brackets, and then x take a in brackets. Perfect squares, if you had x squared plus 2ax plus a squared, you can factorize that straight away as being x plus a all squared. The same if it was take, so x squared take 2ax plus a squared, that can be fully factorized to x take a all squared. Then the last one, and the most important one that you can pretty much apply, you can forget about this this rule here, because sum and product covers you for that. X squared plus px plus q, fully factorized to x plus a, bracket, all bracketed, and x plus b all in brackets, if a plus b makes p, and if a times b makes q. So, to solve quadratic equations using factorization and the null law, firstly you need to rearrange the equation to make it equal 0. Then you need to fully factorize the quadratic side of the equation, like I showed in the previous video. Then use Null Factor Law to find solutions, and that's where either of the terms that are times together can equal 0. Alright, so solve for x squared plus 2x is equal to 8. X squared plus 2x is equal to 8. I need to rearrange it to make it equal 0. So x squared, what's the opposite of adding 8? Taking 8. I need to take 8 from both sides. So x squared plus 2x. Now it's take 8 is equal to 8. Take 8 is 0. So I've made it equal 0. I need to factorize this side now. What methods can I use? I always try sum and product first. So, two numbers that I can times together to make negative 8, and also to add together to make positive 2. What can I time? What are the factors of negative 8? Let's try negative 2 times by 4 is equal to negative 8. Negative 2 plus 4 makes 2, so that's what I'm after. Negative 2 and 4. So now that I've worked out what a and b are, that's a, that's b, I can factorize it. This is going to be x take 2, x plus 4 is equal to 0. And then now use Null Factor Law. This is a and this is b, and they equal 0 in the Null Factor Law. So if a is equal to 0, that would make x take 2 equal 0. So therefore x must be, what's the opposite of taking 2? Adding 2. X is equal to 2 is one solution. If we made b equal 0, b is x plus 4 in this case. plus 4 is equal to 0. What's the opposite of adding 4? It's taking 4. X is equal to negative 4. X is equal to negative 4 is another solution. So, therefore, X is equal to 2 and X is equal to negative 4 are both solutions. Right, so that's an example of looking at the equation, making it equal 0, working out how to fully factorize it. I use some product rule first, and then using Null Factor Law, make one of these factors equal 0 and solve for x. So if x take 2 is equal to 0, x must be 2, and if I made x plus 4 is equal to 0, then x must be negative 4. And that works because we've made the equation equal 0, and that lets Null Factor Law apply. Alright, let's try this one. So this looks more complicated, but you'll notice that they are two fractions, so we can cross multiply, so that'll be 2x take 2 is equal to x 6 plus x. Expand the brackets, 2x negative 4 and 6x plus x squared. We need to make it equal 0. So let's get everything on the left hand side. So opposite of positive 6x is take 6x. So you're going to have negative 4x on this side. Take 4 is equal to x squared. Opposite of positive x squared is taking x squared. So negative x squared, take 4x, take 4 is equal to 0. Now it's not very good to have it as negatives. I can remove the negative factor, the factor of negative 1 here. If I remove negative 1, that would be positive x squared, positive 4x, positive 4 is equal to 0. And because that's written as the product, negative 1 lots of x squared plus 4x plus 4 is equal to 0. That's the same as x squared plus 4x plus 4 is equal to 0. So I did some maths there to get rid of these negative numbers. That shouldn't actually make a difference. I just prefer to use positives here. But just to show you that I haven't done anything dodgy here, if I start from this side, this step, because everything was alright at that point, I only got negatives on this side because I chose to move everything to the left. What if I moved everything to the right? So you got 2x take 4 is equal to 6x plus x squared. I want to keep everything on the right, so what's the opposite of positive 2x? It would be take 2x, so you'd have 4x plus x squared here. What's the opposite of taking 4? Adding 4. So it's going to be 4 plus 4x plus x squared. And so that is the same as that. Alright, so we are at a point now where the quadratic equals 0. We need to factorize. So always try sum and product first. What are the factors of 4? 2 by 2 equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. So yes, A and B are 2 and 2, so it's going to be x plus A, which I determined was 2, and x plus B, which I determined was also 2. I keep writing is equal to 0, and so it's x plus 2 squared is equal to 0. Alright, so now we have x plus 2 squared is equal to 0. We could use Null Factor Law. So Null Factor method. These are our two terms, A that are being times together to make 0. X plus 2 if that's made 0, then x must be negative 2, and the other term is exactly the same, so x must be negative 2 is the only solution. So that's an example of a more complicated factorization and using null factor method to find the solution. Hopefully that helps you out, and I'll see you in the next video.